broadcasting live from windy downtown Cleveland. It's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm your host, the grumpy old man. And this asshole brings us Grumpy Vulture Productions. Enough. Jesus Christ, I'll tell you what. Talk about windy. Holy shit. I thought the house was going to get blown away. God damn. And it's still like crazy out there. You got any of that shit down there by you? Now the mic sounds funny tonight. Maybe. Oh, I had it turned down for Prism. There we go. That's better. Although now the headphones are there. Okay, I can hear now. God damn, this light is bright. I can't win with this. There, better. Yeah, we're ultra windy and 45. And I almost thought we weren't going to have a show tonight because at about 1:15 my internet went and they just got it back up about 15 minutes ago. I saw a news blurb where they said Southern Ohio had a frickin' earthquake today. I didn't feel nothing up here, although it was so goddamn windy. It started, I would say, about 6 o'clock this morning. And I mean, I don't know, I haven't checked the weather. I don't know what the winds are gusting at, but goddamn, they almost felt like tornado winds. And then, you know, stupid Spectrum. All right, the internet is out, okay? Now, they do send text messages, but they could not state when service would be back up. I finally get my service restored, and there's like 6 emails telling me that the service is down, they're working on it. If I don't have any goddamn internet, how am I going to read the frickin' emails? Talk about stupid. Yeah, Mother Nature is paying us back for all the shit that we do to her all year long, you know. You know, they tell you, don't fuck with Mother Nature. You know, I still, and it's my opinion, and everybody tells me I'm full of shit. I think a lot of it has to do with all that shit we're putting up in the atmosphere. We have got so much space junk and satellites and shit up there. I was reading an article, it was earlier in the year, that NASA has to keep readjusting the orbit for the International Space Station to avoid this fucking space junk. They constantly have to keep raising and lowering it in orbit so that it don't get hit with any of this shit. They have to monitor it 24/7 because they say anything even the size of a large piece of gravel would do some hefty damage to that space station. And it's hard to believe it's been up there so many years. And you know, from the original to how big that fucking thing is, you know, they keep adding on and adding on and adding on. Ben, I question articles, or not articles, advertisements like this. Are we selling shoes or are we selling sex? This is an ad for Skechers with good old Sophia. Reader's Digest is really stooping low to take an ad like this. Although Skechers probably paid a big buck. Reader's Digest used to be a nice family-oriented magazine. I could see some little, 10-year-old come in going, "Holy shit, I want Skechers." I know all these magazines are losing advertisers, but come on, when we have to stoop that low for a family-oriented magazine, that should be an ad that would have gone on Playboy, although we know what that ad would have looked like if it was in Playboy. And then, today, I had to run up to the store. I come back from the store, and as I'm backing in the driveway, there's a package laying on the front porch. I got really pissed. Because, I'll tell you what. I have been getting emails for the last couple of weeks from Uni begging me to lift the shipping ban. Begging me. Stating it will never happen again. They've educated their drivers. So, I see this package laying on the step. It was delivered by Amazon. Now, these sellers nowadays can ship whatever way they want. They can ship by the post office, UPS, FedEx, Amazon. Amazon doesn't ship 100% of their own packages. So I bring the package in, and it's got 2 shipping labels. So I peel back the shipping label, and underneath it says, delivered to side door, not front porch. There's an Amazon shipping label over the top that just has the address. They reprinted their own shipping label and disregarded the instructions. So I called Amazon. Now, I already knew this, but I wanted to hear it from somebody in Amazon customer service. They do not care what instructions you set for delivery. All packages will be delivered, if it's a house, front porch only. They will not go and deliver it to my side door. They won't throw it on the roof. It will be delivered to the front porch only. And they reprinted, because I peeled back, and the original shipping label said, side door, not front porch. And then Amazon's label just had the address. And I said to the girl, you do that so that a customer can't complain. Because you in customer service will say, what does the shipping label say? And it'll say the address. Yeah, they only deliver to a house, front porch, period. And that really pisses me off, because why do you have delivery instructions? Yeah, but Kathy, I didn't purchase this from Amazon. I purchased it from an eBay seller. The eBay seller selected Amazon shipping instead of USPS or FedEx or UPS. Because, like, right now, if I have a package to ship, I can take it to a drop station for Amazon, and they are my end delivery person. And it really irritates me. Now, I can see, first of all, Amazon's making a godzillion dollars. They don't need to go out and get more shipping business. But now they are listed as an independent shipper. And you can choose Amazon, you can choose FedEx, you can choose Uni, you can choose GoFo. Although GoFo, they've been doing. I got 3 packages today, and they were right there at the side door. But Uni is like, I got an email today. Could you please lift your shipping ban? You're creating a bit of a problem for some of the sellers. Well, too goddamn bad. If your organization had drivers that understood and read English, we wouldn't be in this situation. Because I wrote him a big long letter back and I said, there's a specific reason why I want it to the side door. I says, first of all, I do not use my front door at any time. I said, second of all, I said, I'm 75 years old and I am not going to risk going up and down the steps. Something wrong with these. They're all the same strength. I don't know why one. God damn it. Don't tell me my eyes are going. Oh, man. Hang on. Need to do a little cleaning here. Must be the... I don't know. I wore these last night. I have an outstanding letter carrier. She is just the greatest. I also have an outstanding UPS man. When I get a package, he will put it in the milk chute if it'll fit, and he will ring the bell to alert me that there's a package, just like just like Jasmine, my letter carrier. My little pixie FedEx delivery driver, I spoke to her a couple weeks ago, and I told her, first of all, she'd been doing a wonderful job delivering them to the side door. And I said, could you do me one favor? I said, my letter carrier and UPS always ring the bell. You don't have to wait. Just ring the bell. Let me know it's there. She said, no problem. I'll tell you what, I'm really going to be upset when my UPS driver retires, because he's the one that stopped one day and alerted me that I had left the lights on in the truck. And then he told me, he asked me, he said, you locked it. I laughed. I said, lock this? He said, show me the switch for the fog lamps, because those are the ones I always left on. I showed him where the switch was. He goes, you know what? I won't even bother you. If you ever leave them on again, I'll just shut them off. A driver like that is an extreme rarity. It's none of their business. And, he drives past the house every day. And he just told me, he said, you ever leave him on, I'll just shut him off. So the next time I see him, I got to wave him down and show him where the switches are in the Passat. Tell him, what, the fog lights are over here, not over here. They're down here on the console. This light's getting irritating. Go to alternate plan B light. There we go. You know, a lot of these carriers are instructed, just deliver the frickin' package. Now, if there's, special instructions, like for mine, put it by the side door. They don't have to ring the bell. They don't have to knock. They're going out of their way to please a customer. And with him saying, hey, you ever leave your fog lights on, I'll turn them off for you. Don't worry about it. That's a rare find. Yeah, he told me, he says, I drive past here every day. If I ever see him on, I'll just shut him off for you. Don't worry about it. Of course, at Christmas time, he does get a little reward. No cards. I get McDonald's gift cards. He told me, he said, just put it in a little white envelope. Same thing with my letter carrier. Well, last Christmas, I happened to be coming out the door when she was delivering, and I said, wait a minute. And I run in the house, grabbed her gift card, and just slipped it in her pocket. Because they're not allowed to accept gifts. Well, when they do an outstanding job, I will reward them. No matter what the frickin' company says. Although this year I will have to get 3 gift cards. One for my letter carrier, one for my UPS man, and one for my little FedEx Pixie. I'll tell you, if she weighs 90 pounds soaking wet, I don't know how she lugs around some of them, because I think the weight limit goes up to 50 pounds. I'm not positive. But I know I saw her fighting one day to deliver a big frickin' flat screen TV that was bigger than her. It was a riot. Luckily it had handholds in the box because I don't know how she'd have picked that son of a bitch up as tiny as she is. But boy, she lugs them packages. Next time I see her, I'm going to have to ask her how much she paid for that route. Because, as FedEx puts it, the independents, they buy their route. Almost like a franchise. But they buy it from the previous person. Like the asshole, thank God he sold the route. And the truck, you know. My last FedEx, and when I would call FedEx, they'd tell me, we can't do anything. He's an independent. I said, what do you mean he's independent? He's wearing a FedEx uniform, driving a FedEx truck. But they're not FedEx employees. They're independent contractors. So FedEx can't yell at them or anything. I said, so they can fuck up and you don't care? They said, well, to a point. You know, like if he took a flat screen TV and threw it across the yard onto the porch, well, then, yeah, maybe. But that really irritated me with Amazon. And like I say, I had talked to a route supervisor, and he told me, company policy, front porch only, but I wanted to hear it from Amazon customer service. Because I told the girl, I said, there's 2 shipping labels on the package. One that says side door only, not front porch. And then an Amazon that just has my address. And she went, yep. Our packages go front porch only. Period. And I commenced to tell her about, oh, God, what was it? Oh, it's got to be about 10 years now. Yeah, because that was the LG 35-inch flat screen. It got delivered to my front porch up the street. And it sat there 3 days because it was nasty weather. And my neighbor across the street finally called me and said, you know, there's a flat screen TV been sitting on your porch for 3 days. Covered in snow. Just put it there. No ring, no knock, nothing. I'm surprised the goddamn porch pirates didn't steal it. I'm surprised it's still working like a charm. Although I brought it in the house and I let it set 24 hours before I unboxed it so that the TV would slowly warm back up. And it happened to be during a time when I wasn't feeling well, and I didn't go out of the house for a week. And it sat there, and luckily my neighbor called. And, you know, they didn't wrap it or anything. it was the LG shipping box with a picture of the TV and everything, and they just slapped a shipping label on the box. I said, God damn, you'd think, something that valuable, you would wrap it in brown plain paper. Nope. Pull it off the shelf, slap a label on it, ship it. Yeah, thank God the chat's working. What I had to do was I had to exit out of YouTube completely on OBS and then reinstall it and then go into the dock box and click chat. And boy, I had my fingers crossed waiting for that chat to pop up because yesterday, like I say, chat's been disabled by YouTube. And of course, you can't get any goddamn answers out of YouTube, They don't have a phone number. They don't want to hear from you, period. Because I went into Prism and I had everything set to go. Although I get my thumbnails off of a gargle. And I went into Gargle and I searched generic shipping labels. And I found one that I liked, and it was a JPEG format. I get the thumbnail set up, and YouTube wouldn't allow it. They would not, I could not start the show until I deleted that thumbnail. And all the goddamn shitty thumbnails that you see all day long, I couldn't put a generic shipping label up to go with my title. So I guess it's blank. I don't know what the thumbnail is. Usually if I don't put anything, they stick Dickhead's picture. Of all the thumbnails, a generic shipping label, and I couldn't use it. And every thumbnail is a JPEG format. Would not let me use it. I don't know what it, and it was just a generic. It wasn't like it said Amazon or UPS. It was just, couldn't use it. Wouldn't let me start at all. So I had to delete it, and I deleted it, and then it showed me the show was starting, and I'm waiting for the chat box, and all of a sudden it popped up, and I was like, all right, I got the chat back. I had a good laugh coming out of Mark's today. I waited till I got in the car. There was this woman in front of me that had them goddamn hair extensions, and they were down to about her knees. And she was swishing her head when she was walking. And a handful of the extensions got caught in the door, got ripped right out of her hair. She was like, ow! Turn around and there's a bunch of hair extensions stuck in the goddamn automatic door. I waited till I got in the car and then laughed so hard I almost pissed myself. I don't know what reason you've got to have 4-foot hair extensions. And I mean, she had a bald spot. It ripped them out by the roots. Just she was holding her head. Ow, 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 ow. Well, serves you right, idiot. And the goddamn things look like old boat rope. Yeah, you were right, Kathy, because you can. I mean, they weren't even attractive looking. They looked like some old boat anchor rope off a 50-year-old scupper, you know. And then one of the cashiers, she had them wrapped up, and it looked like a stump sticking out of her head. I was like, oh my God. Although to bring that subject up, I should have had my bro grumpy wig on. Although I'm waiting, I bought a special pair of sunglasses to go with the bro grumpy look. Wait until you see these. They're supposed to be here within the next couple of days. I got them off of Temu for like $2.85. What else did I order? Oh, I went crazy. What the hell did I order? Well, I needed a special tool bag. So I ordered the tool bag for them T-wrenches that I bought. Because I like to keep everything nice and neat in the trunk. You know, OCD grumpy, you know. You can't just throw everything in a toolbox, you know. You got to have a special bag for everything. I ordered the sunglasses. I ordered the tool bag. I ordered 2 green light bulbs. Because instead of the blue light, I want to put some green light. So I ordered 2 green LED light bulbs. Regular, they look like the old incandescents. What else did I order? Oh, I ordered an amber LED fog lamp, but it's a little one. It's only like 7 inches. and it's low profile so that I can put it on the bumper and aim it down at the road. Because them green headlight bulbs aren't really super bright. I need a little more illumination. The two backgrounds arrived today too. This is a little different view of downtown Cleveland, and this is the one of the Detroit Superior Bridge from one end to the other, and it's a shot of it lit up at night. So we will be having a little background change shortly. Ron will pop in sneakily and go, "Whoa, he took my background down." I'm just going to rotate backgrounds now that I have another Cleveland with a different angle. And I have this bridge from one end to the other that was taken from the edge of the river on the east bank. And it shows this bridge lit up at night, which is cool. Wait until you see this background. Both were on clearance. The bridge background was $2.10, and the different angle of Cleveland was $3.05. Because I'm cheap. There were a couple others. You know, if I didn't have like 60 backgrounds, although I might order the one because I really like it. I don't need it, but I think it's cool. So I think I'm going to order that tomorrow. It's only like $2.85 on clearance. Then today when I was at Mark's, the RC Cola guy was filling the end cap. And I got to talking with him. And I asked him, I says, how long are they going to keep 2 liters at $1.49? And he said, forever as far as I know. He says, we sell the shit out of that stuff in this store. He told me since they went to $1.49, sales have tripled in this store only. He says, I have to come here 3 times a week now. Because he looked at me and goes, I didn't think RC was that popular. I said, well, it's popular for 2 reasons. One, it's $1.49. You can buy 2 of these 2 liters, and you're still saving money because 2 liters of Coke are $3.39 for one. I can get 2 RCs for $3. And I said, second of all, I would guarantee most of the people purchasing it are around my age because we grew up with it. I said, and he looked like he was in kind of like his mid-20s. I said, back in the day, RC Cola was huge. I said they had their own fleet of delivery trucks. You would see delivery trucks with the little shorty semi-trailers, RC Cola. I says it was one more popular than Coke and Pepsi. And I told him everywhere you went, there was an RC Cola, whether it be a billboard or a sign on a gas station or a sign on a mom and pop store. I said, RC Cola was huge back in the day. And I said, I told him, I says, up until I had my kidney infection, I says, I was buying this shit like crazy. I said, especially the cherry RC. I love it. I said, I can't wait to get back to drinking it. Oh, God, yeah. Fago was huge back in the day because it was cheaper than everybody else. And they advertised like crazy. You would see Fago ads in magazines. You'd see it on TV. You'd see it, big signs on stores. You know, I remember what the hell was that store? Convenient Food Mart. They had a big banner. We now carry Fago Pop, all assorted flavors. And then, you know, Coke and Pepsi, basically what it boiled down to is they had more money for advertising. And they would literally pay stores to carry their product. Of course, they do that now. They pay for shelf space. And that's part of the reason why Fago RC is on an end cap. Because they refuse to pay that big price that the stores want for shelf space. Because I noticed today, oh, what the hell aisle was I in? Oh, God. I was going to mention it tonight, too, and I forgot all about it. Oh, what the hell was I looking at? Oh, I was looking for 4-cheese Prego spaghetti sauce. Is it Prego? No, it wasn't Prego. Wasn't Barilla. Oh, God, what the hell spaghetti sauce do I buy? Whatever. I was looking for 4 cheese. I couldn't find it. Now, a month ago, I had bought 2 jars. I can't remember what brand. Oh, God damn it. So the assistant manager happened to be walking down the aisle, and I said, hey, how come there's no 4 cheese, whatever brand I was looking for? And he said they refuse to pay for a certain footage of shelf space. So they got cut down. And they had to determine which ones were more popular. So the pepperoni flavor, the meat, the meatless, mushroom were more popular than 4 cheese. So they got chopped for shelf space. And that's basically the game today. When you go into Mark's, you can tell who's paying for the shelf space. Like Pepsi, they have a 30-foot aisle. Across from Pepsi, a 30-foot shelf space of Coke. RC, end cap. Oh, yeah, well, you know how I found that out, Kathy? When I saw a commercial for Dean's Dill Dip. Dean Dairy Dill Dip. At one time, Mark's had at least a 3-foot section of Dean's products. Their chip dip, their, cottage cheese, milk. Now, they have 12 inches. That's all they have on the shelf. And it's the Dean's chip dip. French onion. That's it. Because they didn't want to pay the big bucks for shelf space. It's not the popularity of the product anymore. It's how much the company is willing to pay for every foot of shelf space. I could almost imagine how much Pepsi and Coke are paying for 30 feet. And we're talking 5 shelves. Mark's used to have Shinola shoe polish. Now, Shinola was a big name, although who polishes shoes? Not that many people wear dress shoes. You can't even find any Shinola product at Mark's whatsoever. Oh, yeah, right, Kathy. I thought the product became unpopular and it didn't sell. No, because the companies don't want to pay whatever Marks is charging for shelf space. That's one thing the manager won't, and the assistant won't tell me. How much per foot? How much do you guys charge per foot? He goes, ancient Chinese secret. I remember going in the store, and we're talking years back. There would be every color Shinola shoe polish. There would be the paste. There would be the liquid. There would be buffing brushes. There would be shoe polish applicator brushes. There would be buffing cloths. Can't find it because they wouldn't pay the money. You know where you can get Rit dye? Aldi. I saw it in my Aldi because it surprised me because you can't find it like Giant Eagle. I don't think they carry it anymore. Marks didn't carry it anymore. I saw it at Aldi's. God, Rit dye, there used to be every color under the rainbow. Especially when tie-dyeing was the big craze. I'm not sure that they had every color, but it surprised me seeing, and they had the box and they had the liquid. Now, I don't know if every Aldi's, but mine's got it. I'll look and see what they've got for colors. But it shocked me to see it because I thought they went out of business. God, back in the 60s and 70s, even into the 80s, they had every color under the rainbow. And you would see the boxes and the liquid. That's like a couple weeks ago, I asked the assistant manager, I just went blank. God damn it. Not Cheetos. Oh, God, what are the cheese crackers? I just went blank. They're little, about the size of a postage stamp. Cheese crackers. I was looking at them today. I just went blank. Cheez-Its. Oh, God damn it. A couple weeks ago, I asked the assistant manager how come they don't have Tabasco flavored Cheez-Its. My favorites. I loved them. Shelf space. The price went up. and Cheez-It had to decide what crackers sold the most that they would put on the shelf in the limited space that they had. And they said Tabasco wasn't a big seller. Gone. And that's what it boils down to, money. Plain and simple. Evidently, the price per foot Marks jacked the price. And the Cheez-It rep came in and went, okay, we're from 4 foot, we're down to 3 foot. You know, we got to decide what are the best sellers. And I, as much as I hate gigantic eaglet, I'm going to have to go and see if they've got Tabasco Cheez-Its because I'll buy a case. Yeah, right. Because if they don't have Tabasco Cheez-Its, I'm not buying a Cheez-It product. I want what I like. And if you don't carry it, you lost the sale. He was telling me, like with a lot of their suppliers, the suppliers dropped carrying certain things because they weren't big sellers. You should let the consumer make the decision. I shouldn't be forced to go to that big goddamn monstrosity Giant Eagle to get Cheez-It Tabasco crackers. And every store operates that way, Kathy, whether it be Myers or Giant Eagle or Kroger or I don't know who's all down there by you, but it's all how much you're going to pay for shelf space or cooler space. And of course, that gets passed on to the consumer because every time the cost of the shelf space goes up, the product goes up. So who ends up getting, it's stuck in their ass in the end? The consumer. People don't realize when they're shopping, they'll look at something and go, oh, goddamn, Nabisco raised the goddamn price of them cookies again. It wasn't Nabisco proper. Nabisco didn't want to raise the price, but they can't afford to take a loss. Yeah, right. I am paying Marks not to get Tabasco Cheez-Its. And another interesting thing, the RC guy told me today, he said all this product on that 4 foot end cap, 6 shelves, he said, we're not making a dime. I said, what do you mean? He said, once a month, we have to give product away for free. So he said, this week's shipment, RC ain't making a dime. Because the 3 deliveries he's making this week, RC Cola had to give to Mark's. Talk about shrewd business dealings. I'll tell you something. Mark's has a store at Ridge Park Square. At the time, it was the only freestanding Mark's store. He actually had it built. Now, last year, Mark's MGI, it's Mark Glassman Incorporated, MGI made a profit, $690 million. Okay? When he built that store at Ridge Park Square, he said to every person that was selling a product, whether it be Prego or Mueller's macaroni, when he was getting ready to open that store and stock it, he told every supplier, every vendor, you know, this store cost me a lot of money to build. If you want to kind of help me out, I would like 5 cases of each product free. And if they didn't agree, they not only didn't get to put the product in that store, he told them to take their product out of every one of his stores. There was a time, and this goes back to the 70s. His store that's out at 130th and oh God, where the hell? I can't remember if it's the Parma store or it was Southland. His store at Southland had a fire. And a lot of product got water and smoke damaged. So, anybody that had their product that got damaged, he told them, turn it into your insurance company. Pepsi, get this one, Pepsi said, no, you have insurance, turn it into your insurance company. He had fire insurance. You'll love this one. So he asked for the Ohio regional manager to come in and have a little meeting with him. So the Ohio regional manager shows up, and Mark Glassman says, are you going to turn this into your insurance? And the guy from Pepsi, the regional, said, no, why should we eat it? You have fire insurance. Wasn't our fault. So Mark Glassman says, okay, no problem. That's right. Don't worry about it. But tomorrow, have your trucks at every one of my stores to remove your product, because I will no longer be selling Pepsi products in my stores. And for a year, you couldn't buy Pepsi products at Mark's. Now you want to hear one better? When Pepsi heard that he was building that freestanding store at Ridge Park Square, the vice president of Pepsi for America came to Mark's office and said, we realize we have a little problem. We don't want to influence you. We would like to help you with the construction of your store at Ridge Park Square. No strings. Here's $1 million check. No strings. And that's how Pepsi got back into Mark's. No strings. Here's a check, though. We're just going to help you out building that store. Although that goes to show you how much Pepsi gets sold out of Mark's stores if they could pop $1 million at the blink of an eye. And you know what? He made them wait 6 weeks before he gave them an answer. I happen to have somebody that at that time worked at the corporate office. That's how I got the little inside information. He cashed the check, and he made him wait 6 weeks. And then he called them and went, I'll sell your product. You can start stocking. Yeah, dropped $1 million check on the desk. No strings. We just want to help you. Because I remember people going, how come we didn't got no Pepsi in this store? And no one ever knew why. But I couldn't believe he told every single vendor when he was getting ready to open that store, bring me 5 cases of everything for free. I need a little help. And can you imagine, like, say, Prego spaghetti sauce, 5 cases of each flavor, or 5 cases of every single product? But can you imagine the money that Pepsi lost not being able to sell their product in any Mark store in Ohio? Now, I don't know how many stores he had at the time. He's got over 100 now. I would say he might have had 60, 70. Yeah, told them, pull your product out of every one of my stores. I bet that guy shit himself. What? Yep, have your trucks at my stores in the morning. Clear your shelves. I could see the route guy getting ready to leave the warehouse in the morning going, my trailer's empty. Why am I going to the Mark stores? I don't have any product. Oh, I'm going to be bringing product back. Oh. He's a shrewd businessman. But, to his credit, I have seen him in his stores mopping the floor, cleaning shelves, stocking product. How many multimillionaires would you see doing that? I was in the store one day. A woman dropped a bottle of what the hell did she drop? Oh, she dropped a big jar of Vlasic pickles. And of course, it made a mess. And they, clean up at Register 8. Next thing I know, I see Mark Glassman with a broom and a dustpan and a mop bucket going up front. He told the stock boy, don't worry about it, I'll do it. I give him credit for that. Because like I say, I've seen him in them stores mopping the floor, cleaning shelves, stocking product. The guy's probably a billionaire. But an extremely shrewd businessman. Oh, God. I just thought of, man, this has got to go back to the 80s or 90s. In his closeout section, they had bought a shipment of figurines, like you'd put on your porch, you know. And one of the girls that was stocking dropped one. I'm trying to think what the hell this figurine was. Whatever. She dropped this thing. And there was a human skull in this figurine. So they took this whole pallet of figurines and they went back in the stock room and they had called the police and they called the coroner and they broke that whole pallet. And there were leg bones and arm bones and somebody had probably a mob took this guy and defleshed him and then put all of his bones in these figurines. I think they came out of Argentina or Bolivia or some. Yeah, they found human bones inside the figurines. I think that was a shipment that got returned. It was in the news. I think it was like in the 90s. I would tend to think they probably check their shipments a lot closer now. Especially if they're figurines. I'd like to see the look on that girl's face. That figurine's got teeth. Tap, 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 tap. Holy shit. It's got a nose. It's got a face. I could see that phone call to the police. Hey, one of our figurines got a skull in it. Yeah, and a skull. Oh, we'll send a car. Let's go back in the storeroom. Whack, whack, whack. Oh, look, a leg bone. Oh. I don't buy figurines. Sorry. Although they did have a neat ogre once. Well, it was a garden gnome, but I should get a couple. Put them out on my front porch. I'd be the only one in the neighborhood with a garden gnome. Although I'll tell you, there's a house down the street from me, Kathy. And I went to school with the kids that lived there. They've got this big brick front porch. And right at the bottom of the front porch are two big lions. These big, huge concrete lions. And they've been there since the 50s. And they're still there today. You go to walk up the front porch, and here's these two big lions. Matter of fact, I told the people that own the house, if you ever get rid of them, I want them. But they have been there probably since the house was built. And they're cool looking. I'll have to take a picture one day. Two big lions. Everybody knew where, what the hell was their last name? Blanks. Blanks, I think. Blanks, Vanks, Banks. Everybody knew where those kids lived. We just said, the front porch with the lions. Is he on your front porch? You're gonna find me some glass insulators. Actually, one. I'll settle for one. I don't care what color it is. I would like blue or green, but God, and to think my uncle had that box, there had to be 30 of them in there. And we just sat in the corner of the barn. Of course, back in the day, who thought they'd be worth anything? You know, chintzy pieces of glass. But I remember driving out in the country. Every telephone pole had either 2 or 4. You drive along pole after pole. I just like to know what happened to them all. I'm sure that, you know, the power companies, they tore the poles down, threw them all away, put new poles up, new insulators, you know. But yeah, when my uncle was wiring his barn, the power company dropped the box off. Here you go. Back in the day, they didn't inspect shit. They were like, here's the insulators, wire your barn, we don't care. And that box sat there. It was a crate, a wooden crate. It wasn't a box. It was a wooden crate, and there had to be 50 of them in there. Blue ones and green ones, I remember. God, I remember he had that anvil It was in the middle of the farmyard. Because that's what he used to unalive the chickens with. Lay their head on the anvil, whack! And some of the old implements that he had, I'm sure they all just got put in a dumpster when they tore the barn down. You know, think what that shit would be worth today, man. Especially them hand size that he had. The big curved blade for whacking weeds. He must have had 10 of them things. Because I remember when he'd have a family gathering out there, he'd give all of us one. Go cut the weeds where we're going to put the table. And we'd be out there, whack, 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 whack. Of course, me and my cousin, we'd be like pirates trying to fight with them. Then my uncle, he'd take them away from us. You guys are going to hurt somebody. You're supposed to be whacking weeds, not each other. We didn't know. Of course, you know, I didn't even stop to think about it, Kathy. When the cable went out, or the internet went out, my kid says to me, well, you know why? I said, because it's windy. He said, no, it's Friday the 13th. I didn't even think about it. Thought never even crossed my mind. Today was Friday the 13th. Of all days for the internet to go out, Friday the 13th. Goes to show you how much I pay attention to dates. I even wrote it down on my note sheet, you know. 3, 13, 30, 26. Didn't even pay attention. Hey, the Walking Belly is here. Almost on time. 5 minutes late. Well, actually, you're early, but I know, feed me, feed me, feed me. Pain in the ass. I could have killed him last night. He's laying there next to me. And I moved over. And he's scooching his ass. And I moved over a little more. Laying flat on his back, scooching his shoulders and his ass. He had to be right next to me. I'm like, come on, give me a little room here. Cat's a pain in the ass. Although I do get my massage. All right, all right. He's sitting here, sad eyes. You're going to fall over from hunger, I know. Feed me. All right, all right, all right. I don't need the claws in the leg like last night. What the hell's all this shit? What the hell's all this shit? I can't get to the music. The damn thing won't. Come on. Oh, this thing got a mind of its own. Finally. We know where, right here, WDWL TV, the home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And with that, everybody have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again here tomorrow night. Almost lost my train of thought. And with that, we will have the 2 obligatory see yas per OBS. See you 1. And see you number 2. Bye-bye.